All right, folks, we are live right here on the Sports Talk Nation. Welcome aboard. Michael Cohen here with you. We're heading down south, going down to Atlanta to talk about the Atlanta Braves, as right now they are in first place in the driver's seat of the National League East. And as we approach Memorial Day, that's one of those points in the year where you start to look at your team and say, maybe we are in contention for something possibly big down the road. Joining us today to talk about the Atlanta Braves is a very, very special guest, and that is a reporter from the Rome Braves. They're one of the minor league teams for the Atlanta Braves, and that is the one and only Ben Poplin. Ben, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Mike. How are you these days, man?
Fantastic.
It's been a while.
Fantastic. It has been a while, man. I mean, it's been crazy. A lot of changes and everything else like that, but it's been good.
Lot. It has been a lot of changes. Your New York Mets, several different changes, but hey, they're right there in the thick of things. Maybe not, maybe not. Matt Harvey got his first win the other day in what seems like 3 years. That was exciting.
That was exciting, and he did that in another uniform.
Yeah, no. Matty Reds of all things.
Oh my! The thing with Matt Harvey is he wanted to get out of here so bad, and it was it just wasn't working out at all. And I'm not surprised that he's pitching well in Cincinnati. He's motivated to get somewhere. He knows that if he pitches well, he's going to get traded to somebody who's contending. The Yankees, that's his ultimate goal in life, apparently. And we'll see what happens if he's going to make that goal happen.
You think he comes back to New York, Mike? You think he comes back to New York? I mean, the Yankees is still New York. I know it's not Shea. I know it's not Flushing over there in the Bronx, but I mean, that city seems to hate him, and he seems to hate the city.
It's very weird. It's been a very weird dynamic. I mean, I think he likes the limelight. I think he likes the party life that New York City can bring. I just don't know if the Yankees are interested. I know that the Yankees, when they had the opportunity to go get him when he was potentially a free agent, or he would become a free agent, they weren't that enthused. So I can't sit here and say that they're probably going to make the trade. But hey, look, if they're sitting there in July desperate for an arm, and Matt Harvey's 8-2 with the Cincinnati Reds with a ERA around 2, they'll probably reconsider it. So who knows? But
they might look.
Yeah, you never know. So we'll see. But
you never know.
You never know. Maybe he ends up. And this is the thing this is the conspiracy theory going around here with the radio stations up here in New York. They're saying, if he pitches well, what if he ends up going to Atlanta and pitches in the division against the Mets? I'm like, that would be very interesting.
I want no part of Matt Harvey. I want no part of that dumpster fire that is his media frenzy. Everything that surrounds that guy turns to trash. So I want no part of Matt Harvey. If he comes to Atlanta and does great, bravo. But I'm not going to be the first one to welcome him into Hartsfield-Jackson Airport if that happens.
You might be the last. So you're saying that you'll be the first one to send them out, maybe?
Yeah, pretty much. I'm going to be there for the welcome party. I'm not going to be there.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all. It was a very bizarre few years with him here. It really was. It was completely strange. I mean, it started off great with the Dark Knight and the All-Star Game appearance and all of that, and then all of a sudden just crashed right after that World Series against Kansas City. Just went right down the drain with him. It was just. And a lot of it was his fault. It was his own doing. He blamed everybody else, but it was on him.
It was his own doing. I'm glad you put that out there. And also, maybe it was a mental game with him. Because the World Series, he did extremely well, but he has not been the same Matt Harvey, the Dark Knight you just mentioned, since he talked his way in to that game against the Kansas City Royals, when he talked to Sandy Alderson and basically talked his way in. And then he gave the game up. And essentially gave the series up because the Mets ended up losing to the Kansas City Royals. And that was one of the best rotations we've seen in Major League Baseball. That is, until the Houston Astros became the Houston Astros that we see now. But we could talk about that another day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Matt Harvey, though, Scott Boras is his agent. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. That's problem number one. Scott Boras is going to get his clients' money. That's all well and good. That's great. But Scott Boras is a snake. So when you look around professional sports and his agents, his clients, whatever jargon he wants to use and throw around, he's going to get them money, and he's going to do whatever he needs to do in order to get them that cash that he feels they so deserve. I mean, there's so many clients that he's got in Major League Baseball alone. He's got some in other sports as well. But Scott Boras is a snake. He's a snake.
He is. Let's talk about some of these young guys you got here on the Braves. And my goodness, Ozzie Albies, of course, Ronald Acuna Jr. Those two guys are the centerpieces of what has been coming up here through the Braves system this year. And a lot of people said the Braves are ahead of schedule. You know what? I think they're going to be just fine. I think they're going to be just fine. But I think they're going to be just fine. You can say ahead of schedule if you want, but the fact is they're here and they are making things happen in a big way right now for this baseball team.
It's true, they're here, and we knew this was coming. We just didn't know it was going to come this fast.
Yeah.
A lot of people are saying, yes, they're ahead of schedule. The Yankees were ahead of schedule a few years ago with the baby Bombers. Now you've got the baby Braves. Ozzie Albies and Ronald Acuna Jr., yeah, that's the bromance that keeps on giving. If you follow Major League Baseball and any of those accounts on Instagram, what have you, they just love each other, man. They're best friends. They were best friends in AAA Gwinnett, now the Stripers, formerly of the Braves. It's just amazing to watch them flourish at this level. They're two of the youngest players, with the exception of the guy who debuted for the Washington Nationals the other day, Juan Soto, who I had the chance to see a few years ago here in Rome, as well as a member of the Hagerstown Suns. But they're so young. The ceiling is so high. It's ridiculous. The plethora of young players that the Braves have. Alex Anthopoulos, hats off to you, what you're doing in the Braves, too. The brand new GM that came from the Toronto Blue Jays and formerly the Dodgers. I mean, it's just up. It's up and up and up, man. There's no downside to it right now. You hate to say it. You want to knock on wood. There's no downside right now because this is just the beginning, Mike. It's just the beginning, as scary as that sounds.
I mean, I look at their prospects, and a lot of the guys that they have, ranked as the top 30 prospects, a lot of those guys have already been up. I mean, in addition to Acuna, you have Mike Soraka, who has he's been in the major leagues already. You got Max Fried, who's already been pitching in the major leagues, coming out of the bullpen. And then, of course, you got the guy who's coming up. And, third base is kind of an interesting situation because you guys had Jose Bautista, who, oh, by the way, just signed with the Mets this week. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm laughing and crying at the same time. Jose Bautista. Jose Bautista.
I did not know where he signed. I was glad we released. Let's talk about that, Mike.
Sure.
Let's talk about that because that's an interesting conversation to have, the amount of infielders that the Braves have.
Yes.
All right, let's go around the diamond. Freddie Freeman's at first, locked up for years. He's not going anywhere. Ozzie Albies is now the second baseman of the future. Dansby Swanson is the shortstop of the future. Third base, what happened? Okay, you got a guy named Johan Camargo who is smooth as they come, and they have not given him a shot to be an everyday player. Do I think he's earned it? Yeah. What do they do, though? He gets hurt during spring training, and they bring in Ryan O'Flaherty. Ryan O'Flaherty. Talk about coming out of nowhere. He was a Baltimore Oriole. And now he's just hitting the cover off of the ball to start 2018. He's not getting as much playing time now. But also, you have a guy named Charlie Culberson, who's actually a great story, local guy here in Rome. Played in, of course, the World Series last year with the Dodgers. A lot of people give him grief because he thought he hit the go-ahead home run. He didn't. He just hit a home run of the World Series. Mike, wouldn't you act like you just won everything if you hit a home run of the World Series? I sure would.
Hey,
I sure would.
I sure would, too.
That's a tangent for another day as well. But you have so many infielders that you have to choose from. Then you have Austin Riley. Austin Riley is absolutely phenomenal. Yeah. The fact that he has blossomed and promoted himself so quickly throughout the Brave system is just mind-boggling to me because I saw him in Rome a few years ago, and his defense in the first half was some of the worst I've ever seen at third base.
Wow.
And then he turns it on in the second half. He doesn't commit many errors. We know he's got the bat. He's still young. He's barely 20, and he's up in AAA now. But why go get Jose Bautista, Mike? Why? I don't understand that move, and I never will. Because he was with us for 2 weeks, and now he's gone.
The only thing I can think of is that you have a team that's trying to figure things out, and it's the same kind of thing that the Mets just did. I can't figure it out myself because you have a couple young outfielders as well for the Mets, like Brandon Nimmo, who I'd like to see more of, and now he's on the pine because of this guy.
I love Brandon Nimmo.
He's fantastic.
Seeing
He's a spark plug at the top of that lineup for them. But
yes, he is.
I just don't understand what Jose Bautista. I mean, Jose Bautista should just retire. I thought when I saw the name Jose Bautista, I'm like, you mean the guy who flipped the bat against the Rangers in the playoffs? He's still playing. That's kind of how I feel right now.
Well, no one follows Canada, Mike. I mean, you've got some roots in Canada, so you've been there. You've been in the Can-Am League, but no one follows Canadian sports. Not even hockey in America. No one cares. So Jose Bautista is that guy that flipped his bat. And also the guy that got his lights punched out by Rougned Odor. Rougned Odor became the favorite person in Major League Baseball, by the way, because no one likes Jose Bautista. No one likes Jose Bautista. He doesn't really like anyone himself. So I'm glad that cancer that was in the Braves clubhouse is now gone. I'm sorry he's in yours now, but that's not my problem anymore.
No, well, he won't be long.
Don't you guys still have a guy named Todd Frazier? Don't you still have Todd
Yeah,
Frazier?
well, the only thing with Todd Frazier is right now he's on the disabled list. He's been bothered with a couple of leg injuries, so that's a big part. That's part of the reason why they wanted to do that. You also have Jonas Cespedes with a quad injury, so that was their motivation to go out there and sign Bautista, even though to me it made no sense. And even from the Braves standpoint, it didn't make sense. I guess it's just a situation where you kind of need a body, or you want to have a body and look for a veteran guy. And there's Jose Bautista, a former MVP candidate. Well, yeah, 37 years old now. I would say let's pass. But
he's kind of a one-trick pony too.
Yeah.
Being honest,
Mm-hmm.
He's a home run, an all or nothing guy. Maybe he'll get a double to the gap every now and then. His first hit as a Brave a few weeks ago was a double to the gap, but now he's with you guys. And that just brings us back again to the point. Alex Anthopoulos, Jose Bautista, they were good friends probably with the Toronto Blue Jays, the brief time that they spent together. But Jose Bautista is also not a third baseman, Mike. He was an outfielder, and a subpar outfielder at that. He was never known for his defense. They're not good defenders. They're one-trick ponies. So the fact that they're sticking around, I just don't understand it.
Yeah,
I don't understand.
You know what? When you have guys that have potential to hit 30 home runs, or still have that potential to even hit 25 home runs, that's how they get their jobs. That's how they keep it. That's what teams look at. They look at the power numbers, like, and so it's all about this exit velocity statistic, which I hate. That's part of part of it.
We've fallen in love with statistics, Mike. It's what we've done as a baseball community. We've fallen in love with these statistics. We've fallen in love with a home run, and. Sure, it's amazing, but I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. There's so many home runs last year, probably over around 2,000. They're going to do it again this year. Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton alone are going to hit 70-plus combined. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But to circle back what you were talking about the Braves pitching, Mike Soroka was in Rome a couple of years ago.
Sure.
3 years ago, I actually posted a throwback the other day. I interviewed him his first day in Rome. He's a Canadian. To circle back to the Canadian roots, he's a Canadian. He actually loves Nickelback. We'll forgive him for that. Nickelback is one of the worst things to ever happen to America. But Mike Soroka was tremendous. He was tremendous. He was a part of the international team in Miami last year, as was Ronald Acuna Jr. and so many other guys we're going to see come up throughout the major league systems. But Mike Soroka is here to stay. He could be a possible ace going forward. You also have a guy named Colby Allard, who is a lefty, and he's only 20 years old, and he is in Gwinnett as well. He led the league in strikeouts a couple of years ago. You also got several other guys that are coming up that we don't even talk about. Bryce Wilson's a guy that's doing really good things for the Florida Fire Frogs in High A. You also have Max Fried, who you mentioned. He could be a starter, but it maybe looks like the Braves are going to throw him in the pen. And good for him. He's got a spot. That's great. There are several other guys. Again, it's just so many arms you can't keep up. You cannot keep up.
Here's a franchise that defined and then redefined pitching, right, in the 90s with, Smoltz and Glavine and Maddox and all those other guys, Avery, all those guys. And now here they are, almost 20 years later, and boom, here we go again. You got a whole bunch of pitchers coming up through this system, and you know what? They're going to be. It's scary because I take a look at the landscape of that division. The Mets, didn't work out with their pitching. It's gone Generation K 2.0, basically. It's just kind of falling apart. The Nationals, Strasburg's a guy who's had his injury histories. Scherzer's getting up there in age. Philly, I'm still trying to figure out what they're trying to do as far as the pitching. They got the offense, but pitching is still kind of an issue there. And Miami's just a dumpster fire. So you take a look right now. Atlanta is the team right now that's just in a great position for years to have tremendous dominant pitching, bullpen and starting pitching for years to come.
It's like you and I were talking about the other day in a little pre-interview text. They're primed for years to come to compete.
Oh yeah,
barring that they don't stay healthy. They are primed. I mean, they're good in the outfield as well. They've got Acuna Jr. They've got Ender Inciarte locked up. I don't think Nick Markakis sticks around, but they've got a guy named Christian Pache who's working his way up the systems. Ray Patrick Ditter was a really good guy with the Rome Braves a few years ago. Don't think he's going to pan out, but you have outfielders coming up. You have infielders coming up. The one thing, and we talked about this last year as well when I did a preview, was the Braves don't really have catching. They don't have catching, and if they do, it's not ready. But we've got a guy in Rome. You'll recognize the last name immediately, Contreras. Wilson Contreras is the catcher for the Chicago Cubs. He's probably the sole reason we now have the mound visit rule, because he visits so many times. William Contreras is not going to cover off the ball here in Rome. He got promoted from short A Danville just a few weeks ago, and all he's done is just great things. So he could be up the pipeline pretty quick if he continues. But he's really young. Guy like Kyle Mueller, first rounder, Drew Waters, first rounder. He is 19 years old, just coming out of high school. He's like another Dansby Swanson because Dansby was first round. He was first overall, yes. Mind you, Dansby was actually in Rome 3 days before he goes ahead and hits the walk-off double, by the way. We were calling him a former Rome Brave. It's kind of fun because he was in Rome for 1 day. He went 2 for 4, looks flawless at short, and he was just fine. The wrist was fine. But you've got so many guys, Mike. It's unbelievable the talent that the Braves have, and they're just going to continue to draft more. And it does start with the pitching. John Hart was a guy who said something last year, the Braves way. The Braves way will and always will be, has and always will be pitching. Pitching first.
Yep.
You can't play a baseball game. You can't start a game until a pitcher throws the ball. He can just stand there. The Braves have some of the best coming up through their systems that are going to throw a lot of baseball past a lot of major league hitters. That's just brass tacks. It's going to happen.
And when you have a plethora of pitching and you have a lot of pitching, it just makes things that much easier because there's always the chance. We see it all the time where you're going to have guys that fall off, guys maybe don't live up to expectations, and it's always about the next man up, right? Well, the Braves have a lot of guys that can be the next man up. And I'm even looking at your Rome Braves, and I look at the pitching. My goodness, a lot of impressive numbers there. Bruce Zimmerman, you can 2.50 ERA.
I'm so glad you brought up
Brandon
Bruce
White.
Zimmerman.
Yeah.
Brandon White has been phenomenal out of the bullpen. He actually won the BC Powder Reliever of the Year. Got a chance to interview him a few weeks ago. I'm going to get to interview Bruce Zimmerman coming up here as the homestand will begin on Monday or Tuesday. Bruce has been lights out his past couple of starts. Not to mention he's got a killer mustache, but he struck out probably a combined 20, 21 in his past 2 starts. He struck out 9 last time out on the hill, and he's a lefty. I don't know, but there was a really good lefty that came out of Atlanta named Tom Glavine, who's now a Hall of Famer and got over 300 wins. I'm not putting Bruce in that same ilk, but he's a prime lefty to come, as is Colby Allard. So if you got them in the rotation, good grief. Mike Soroka, not to mention a guy who's already there that no one talks about anymore just because he is that guy, Mike Foltynewicz. Mike Foltynewicz could be the number 2, number 3. He could even be an ace if he wanted to, if the Braves give him that shot. I'm sweating. It's unbelievable. And I'm so excited to see it happen. And it's happening right now. The future is now.
If Bruce Zimmerman is anything like a Tom Glavine, I mean, you got to ask him about his golf game then, because I know Glavine's a big golf guy, right?
Oh, gosh. Glavine and Smoltz and Maddox golfing, yeah. Oh, don't even get me started. It's just amazing. It's just amazing to see where the Braves are, where they're going, and they're putting Major League Baseball on notice right now, because a lot of people didn't get the Braves love. And I've said this in the past, the Braves are the Houston Astros of 2018. Houston Astros lost upwards around 100 games 2 seasons in a row before making the playoffs, and then last year winning the World Series. And I think they're probably going to do it again this year. I don't know if anyone stops them offensively, pitching, defensively. They're the best all around. I mean, I don't care about the power with the Yankees. I think the Houston Astros are unstoppable. Braves could be the Houston Astros of the National League. Mark it down. It could happen.
It could happen. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I mean, I look at that American League right now, and it's going to be Yankees and Astros. I mean, that's what it's going to come down to. Could the Red Sox sneak in there? Sure. I mean, there's some concerns for me about the rotation, but you're right. Pound for pound, if you just base it off of starting pitching, the Houston Astros have the best starting pitching in the American League right now. I mean, you got Charlie Morton right now who is 6-0 with a 1.94 ERA. I was talking to a Yankee fan the other day, and I said to her, you guys going up against the Astros this week, you're going to see the big 3. She was like, okay, well, you mean Verlander? Yeah, Verlander, Keuchel, and Charlie Morton. And I mentioned the stats, and she's like, what? It's like, yes, Charlie Morton's just killing the American League right now. So, and he's matched up, I think, against German, who got lit up twice. So that's not going to get pretty. But that's
and the crazy thing about Charlie Morton, he was a Brave a few years back before he was a Pittsburgh Pirate. And he just couldn't figure it out. Injuries just kept plaguing him. It was kind of like a Mike Hampton situation all over again. But Charlie Morton has figured it out, and we saw it. He put everyone on notice again, to use the phrase, during the World Series, and he's continued that success. I don't know what he found. Caught lightning in a bottle. Found the fountain of youth. But Charlie Morton is dealing 6-0 with an ERA just under 2. Wow.
It's just been on an amazing run. It really has. I mean, that team's just scary good. And then they, let's see, I believe they added the kid from Pittsburgh. I forgot his name, Garrett Cole. So you have that. You have him in there too. I mean, it's just
what
it's
did he
just
do in his Astros debut? He struck out 11.
Yeah, I mean, he's just been incredible.
He's part of the big three. If there's a big four, a big five, you got Lance McCullers Jr. in there too, and he's no slouch.
Mm-hmm.
Good grief. That's a plethora of arms. That's just ridiculous.
That is.
That's just a wealth of fire on your side.
Absolutely. Now, can they improve their bullpen a little bit? Sure, they can. I think a lot of teams will try to do that, and that's what this is all about for the next couple of months. Getting the bullpens ready for the stretch run. But still, you put that rotation into October in a short series. You can even bring guys out of the bullpen for that matter. Forget about it. That's going to be tough. That's going to be really tough.
No, it's just unstoppable. Again, the offense. You won't even need a bullpen to be the Astros if the offense does what they did last year, average like 8 runs a game. Forget about it. You're done. I mean, you're absolutely done. There's no way to come back from that. Now, the Yankees did it a few times past year. Cleveland Indians did it a few times. But, again, it's kind of like the Golden State Warriors in the NBA, although they're down 3-2 right now in the Western Conference Finals to the Houston Rockets. But you're not going to beat these guys 7 games. You're not going to beat them in a 7-game series. No. It's just not going to happen.
No, it's just they're just too good, and they've been there, and they know what it's like to win, and they know what it's like to win against in pressure situations as well, and that just makes it that much tougher. Absolutely. The team that surprises me right now is probably Philadelphia, because forget the whole thing that happened at the beginning of the year with where Gabe Kapler screwed up the bullpen against you guys down there, and everyone wanted him fired in Philadelphia. But man, the Phillies just surprised me because. If anyone came out of nowhere, it was Philadelphia. We knew they were going to get better, but I don't think we knew they were going to be this much better. They're right in the thick of this thing right now.
Yeah, not to mention they have Jake Arrieta, their ace now. But Rhys Hoskins is knocking the cover off of the ball. You got Odubel Herrera, who is fantastic, and Crawford at short. I had the chance to see him several years in a row in the Phillies organization with the Lakewood Blue Claws, and I was just waiting for him to get a shot. Now he's getting that shot, and he's taking it. It's just amazing. It's amazing to see these teams where they come out of nowhere, or they've been working on it for years and years, and then you see all of that work, everything comes to fruition. This could be the Braves and Phillies of old, because they were a rivalry way back when. 10 years ago, maybe they were a rivalry. It's awesome. Baseball's in a great place.
It really is. You got a lot of. You want to call it parody? You can. You just want to call it. You want to call it just smart front offices and smart baseball. I would tend to lean that way. I just look at all these teams, and there's so many teams that you can go in different directions. Say this team you can make an argument for any team, any one of these teams to win, especially in the National League. Especially in the National League where it's so wide open. Look at the West. Who thought the Dodgers would be 5 games under 500? And you would have the Colorado Rockies right now half game ahead in first place. Nobody would have thought that. Pittsburgh.
No, and that's the most interesting division. I've said this in the past. That's the most interesting division in Major League Baseball right now is the National League West. Because I'm still not counting the Giants out. A lot of people are like, really? The Giants? Yes, the Giants. I'm still not counting them out. It's an even year, Mike, but that has nothing to do with it. But you have the Los Angeles Dodgers. You have the Colorado Rockies, the Arizona Diamondbacks. That's just a stacked division. They're all going to get over 85 wins this year. It's just ridiculous. Ridiculous to see that division. It's going to flip-flop. We're not even near the All-Star break yet. We're only full month and a half into the season, maybe 2. And they're just going to continue to swap. But the Colorado Rockies, they are a surprise. They are a surprise. There's no other way to put it. Kyle Freeland, that lefty, he is something. He is something for the Rockies.
How about Arenado? I know he's been doing this for a few years now, but
he's the best third baseman.
Oh my goodness!
In the game.
I saw a play made at third base in the hole. I'm like, how the heck did he do that? It just blew my mind. It was incredible.
He makes it look routine.
He does.
Yeah, he makes it look routine. It's insane what he's going to do. He's going to continue to win Gold Gloves, Platinum Gloves. They'll probably have to make up an award for him. He's just effortless.
And he
can do it with a bat.
The Gold Platinum glove. There.
The Gold and Platinum.
The Golden Platinum glove for Nolan Arenado.
Platinum into the gold.
Exactly. I gotta ask you this though. You gotta really, as far as the on the Major League side here with the Braves, you got a really interesting schedule coming up here. Braves are going to go up against the Boston Red Sox this weekend in what's going to be just an absolutely fascinating series. I'm surprised the Sunday game's not a Sunday night game. I'm really surprised about that. This is going to be kind of a nice litmus test for this young Braves team to go into Boston, into Fenway. Take on the big bad Red Sox this weekend. That should be a lot of fun to watch.
The big bad Red Sox. You mean Mookie Betts?
Yes.
Mookie Betts is the Red Sox right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting series. Pitching is going to really, really come to the forefront. I mean, Mike Fulton-Evans, David Price, Chris Sale. Hopefully Mike Soroka is healthy enough to pitch in that kind of environment.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Julio Teheran becomes the Julio Teheran of old.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be nice. And all the youth in that Devers. I can't even name them all off. It's ridiculous.
Benintendi.
Benintendi was the one I was forgetting.
Mm-hmm.
Mookie Betts, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have, of course, Dansby Swanson, Albies, Johan Camargo, Ender Inciarte is no spring chicken, but he's also not old.
Mm-hmm.
Ronald Acuna, of course. Unbelievable.
It is.
Unbelievable series, and that should be on the main stage. That should get the ESPN spotlight. I don't know if it will, but it should.
Yeah, well, let me take a look. I'm going to take a quick look here because I'm curious. What is their so-called Sunday night baseball matchup here? And that is going to be the Giants and the Cubs. Okay, I mean that's not terrible, but still, still. Give America what they really want. I think they want to rather see Fulton-Evans against Sale rather than Block against Darvish.
Mm-hmm.
Just my opinion. But hey, who am I?
Yeah. No, I would agree with you because those are two of the best teams in Major League Baseball right now, being the Braves and the Red Sox, not the Giants and the Cubs. Cubs have not been great this year. So give them their due. Give them their due. But they probably can't make the changes of this schedule that quickly. They make these schedules early on before the season begins, and then you have to work out all the traveling and yeah, you can't change it. But hopefully we get some more viewers when it comes to the Braves and Red Sox. I know I'll be watching because that's going to be exciting. It could be a preview. It could be a preview. Who knows? It
could be. I mean, it's very possible those teams could meet in the World Series. I mean, as far as the Rome Braves are concerned, how are they doing right now? I know the guys are playing very well right now, but right now, as far as divisions, as far as competing right now, what's going on down there with Rome?
On the South Atlantic League, they're a game and a half back of first place, the Augusta Green Jackets, and that's the Giants' A affiliate.
Mm-hmm.
And the Braves are actually on the road right now. They were in Lexington last I checked. They're going to be back here in Rome for a 6-game homestand to play the Asheville Tourists, which is the Colorado Rockies affiliate. They took 3 of 4 from them to close out a brief 4-game homestand the last time they were home on Mother's Day, or actually a few days after Mother's Day. So Rome is actually doing really, really well this year, Mike. The pitching, as we've mentioned already, is doing fantastic. The offense is coming together. William Contreras, as I said, is doing extremely well. The outfield is doing well. Drew Waters, a couple of other guys that are really standouts that no one's talking about. There's a guy named Giancarlos Encarnacion, which is just fun to say, but he is a really good third baseman defensively, and he carries a big stick with the Rome Braves, too. You could see him in the next couple of years. Darian Cruz is a really good second baseman.
Mm-hmm.
He actually made more errors than anyone last year, so he's back here in Rome, but he's on the top prospect list for the Braves as well because of his bat. And you've got a guy named Israel Wilson. They call him Izzy. He's a really good right fielder. Hopefully the bat comes around. Maybe you see a promotion from him. But the list goes on, Mike. And not to mention, we brought Rocket Wheeler back, who was the manager in 2003. And yes, his name's actually Rocket. 2003 South Atlantic League champions. That was the very first year Rome became a team. Just to rattle off a few names that were on that team. Brian McCann, Jeff Francoeur, Kyle Davies.
Wow.
List goes on.
That's some good talent. That's some good talent. I mean, as some people say up here in New York with the prospects the Yankees have, it's like throwing out a major league lineup against minor league competition. That's kind of what the Braves have that all the way up and down their entire system right now. It's major league talent going in the minor leagues. It really is.
They really do. It's scary. Speaking of in New York, how's your boy Tebow doing with the Binghamton Rumble Ponies?
I've been very critical about the whole thing because I'm like, why experiment with a guy who's a football player and hasn't played baseball since he was in high school, but he hasn't been playing too badly this year. I mean, he's hitting around 240, which isn't bad, I guess, especially for a guy who's somewhat new to the game. But personally, if I were in charge of the Mets, I would say, look, just leave him down there for the entire year. Let him know what it's really like to be part of that minor league system, minor league culture. And that's a team, to me, that just needs to redevelop so many pieces and so much talent that Tim Tebow, in my mind, just kind of a distraction. You know what I'm saying? It's just kind of here's a celebrity we got playing baseball for us down in the minor leagues. It's great to sell tickets, but as far as development, I don't know about that, but he is playing. Yeah. He's playing well. That's all I can say.
I get what you mean.
Yeah.
I get what you mean, and I saw him up close last year as well when they came with the Columbia Fireflies, your Mets A affiliate, and he was nothing to write home about. He looked like a football player trying to play baseball. But I have seen some videos of him this year, especially the home run he hit. The very first pitch he saw with the Binghamton Rumble Ponies here in 2018. It was a home run. It was the very first pitch, and it looked like a solid swing. And is it scary that we're saying, oh, well, that actually looked like a baseball swing? Is that a little like, oh, he looks like he can actually play the game now? Should we be talking about that? We're a double-A player? I don't know, but I just wanted to check on him. I haven't really looked.
Yeah, I mean, he's been playing well. Would I be shocked? Because Sandy Alderson has come out and said that he wouldn't be shocked if Tim Tebow gets a chance in Major Leagues this year, which tells me that if the team is out of it in September and they got nowhere to go, and they bring up the 40-man roster call up, that I'd be shocked to see Tim Tebow just to put in some seats in like September 20th. No, I wouldn't be shocked at all. But that's at the end of the day, it's about entertainment. It's about business. You're trying to make some money on that. But I can totally understand that.
Yeah,
it was kind of funny. You bring up. I did go down to spring training this year, and I did see him bat. The entire crowd, and this was at Port St. Lucie, the Mets single-A affiliate of the Port St. Lucie Mets, and the entire crowd just gave him a standing ovation. Now batting Tim Tebow, and everyone goes crazy. Like, I'm sitting next to a bunch of Tiger fans, and they're like, "Why do they clap it? What are they going crazy for?" I'm like, I don't even know. Like, I've been wondering it myself for a couple of years now. Because at the time he had like a 190 career batting average. I'm like, I don't even know, but he's a cult figure down there. I mean, we all know that with what went on down there with Florida University, but they just love him down there.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. No, I mean, University of Florida, he was basically everything they could have asked for and more. He made a promise to them even one season after they lost. He was crying during a press conference saying, we will not lose again. And they didn't lose again. He won a national championship with them. He's a Heisman Trophy winner. He's been proven in football. He's trying to prove himself in baseball now. But, yes, he's a cult figure. He's an icon, to use that word, in the state of Florida, and always will be.
It's kind of funny that we brought up Jose Bautista. Jose Bautista and the Mets. Oh, by the way, head on down to Atlanta next week. That'll be for Memorial Day. Oh, good.
That's great.
Have a nice, happy reunion for four games in 3 days.
And we can't escape this guy.
I know. The sad part would be if he gets a big hit against you guys. Be like, oh my God, really?
Yeah. Oh, we let that guy go. Yeah, we did. We're still in first place. It's one game. Yeah.
You know what you do. You know what you guys got to do though. If Jose Bautista hits a home run against the Braves, he's got to go down the next at bat. Just take him down.
Oh, really?
Hey, why not?
You want to ignite the old Braves Mets rivalry just because of this guy?
Hit
him.
Well, I don't know about this guy, but it would be nice to see the Mets Braves rivalry get back to what it used to be. That would just be crazy awesome. I would
agree because I, growing up, hated the Mets. No offense. And then when the Mets actually became lackluster, I started to hate the Phillies because that was the rivalry. Now it's more so the Washington Nationals because the Braves just have a habit of picking rivalries with teams in their division, which is the way it should be. Really, it's the way it should be. These guys should not be friends. They should not hang out after games, or if they do, don't make it public because that's baseball. You're playing a game for a living. You want to beat the opponent to within an inch of his life. That's what you want to do, metaphorically speaking, of course.
Exactly. I totally understand that. I mean, the Nationals are just kind of that team that everyone hates right now until they let Bryce Harper walk away, which will happen this winter.
It might.
Where's
he going to go, though?
Chicago?
The
Cubs?
Yankees used all their payroll for Giancarlo Stanton. Harper's not going to go to the Yankees anymore.
No.
That's going to be an interesting storyline to follow.
It will be. Maybe he goes to the Cubs. I've heard that talk that since he's close with Chris Bryant, maybe they would make that happen. But still, you got to pay all those guys over there.
That's true. They're both Vegas boys. Actually, Matthew Kaminsky, the organist for the Atlanta Braves, when Harper and the Nationals came to town, he messes with all the visiting players and plays songs from pop culture that actually coordinate with their last name. But for Harper, he actually played Go Cubs Go. And
Interesting.
He played, I believe, New York, New York, by Frank Sinatra. He was trolling Harper pretty hard.
Wow.
Harper did go deep, but it was pretty funny.
Wow. That is pretty funny.
Oh, yeah.
That is awesome. Anyway, Ben, I really want to thank you, man, for coming aboard here, talking some Atlanta Braves baseball, obviously. Always great to have you a part of the program, man. And always we'll love to have you come back on to talk some more baseball here in the next few weeks.
Oh, Mike, it's been a pleasure, man. Anytime. Best of luck to your Mets. Not too much in the series coming up, but it's been a pleasure, man. Glad you're doing well, and good luck with the show. Love what you're doing, man.
Great, thanks. Thanks a lot, man. Thank you. Ben Poplin right here, a reporter from the Rome Braves right here on the Open Mic program. That's going to end it here, folks. We want to thank you for joining us here today on the Open Mic program, on the podcast. Remember to follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/Open Mic program, and also on Twitter @OpenMicNJ. And also like and subscribe right here on the Sports Talk Nation